in exactly what you want them to remember from the message.
Yes, because we see it, and once you go up the organization, your emails must be shorter and shorter. When
Correct.
you reach the CEO, it's 2 words: proceed or no. That's it.
Right, absolutely.
Okay,
Good point. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
My name is Ravi Podwa. This question is to Dr. Sadi. It's good you put the implements like the combined for the project management process and the procurement process. I have the few concerns. The project management, the project manager is nowadays is a costly affair who has to be run from this day one for the tendering to the giving the tender. Is this not, this is my opinion, it's a costly affair. At the same time, in the organization, we have not achieved our tender. We don't know if we're getting or not. So we putting the project manager, we don't aware also whatever the project is coming and the project manager not available in the organizations to have the project. So instead of that, why we could not involve the people, like we can say the higher experience, who have the project management experience, who can involve the tendering, not require the project manager involved during the tendering stage. This is my advice.
Okay, I've seen many cases when I did this research and actually the case study. In many cases, excellent salespeople or business development people have a background in project management. If we have this in them, if we have an actual project manager who knows about the discipline he's trying to sell within this business development person, then the whole problem is sort of diminished, because they will not give over promises or try to sell something that cannot be properly executed. But this is not the case all the time. Now, to bring on board project managers for every single opportunity is usually costly, and we can't find all the time the needed resources technically who understand the specific requirements or context of this new endeavor we are trying to win. So there are multiple ways to approach this problem. If we are going to look for something that has sort of sustainability, okay, we need to tackle it from a process perspective. And we have to put this within our governance system so that whenever these two have to collaborate, they are not standing on each other's feet. Okay, they have to do it by law or by the governance system within the organization. They cannot not do it. Versus if right now nothing mandates they work together, and a project manager comes to work with the BD guy, he says, no, you're gonna make the estimate too high and we will lose. You see, there should be involvement of top management. It cannot be resolved from one of the two silos, because one cannot dominate over the other. You have to have the framework coming up from top management.
Thank you. So we have room for a final question, gentlemen.
Thank you all for your wonderful presentations. My name is Ahmed Khalil. I'm the ex-Chief Projects Officer and currently the General Manager and CEO of FFS, which is Internet and Mobile Banking Applications Provider. My question is for Teresa and for Dr. Sadi. In Internet banking and portal projects, we suffer from the same problem related to requirements not being very specific and finalized before the project starting. The challenge over here is for requirements gathering and documentation for such projects, it might take 4 to 6 months. Okay. How can we balance, how can we address this challenge? Okay, if we do it pre-project, this is job at risk. We don't guarantee that we will get the project, and the customer is not willing to spend 4 to 6 months with each and every potential vendor to do the requirements gathering and documentation and approval cycle. How can we address, how did you address this in your research, and practically how you are addressing this, Teresa, in your projects, so that we minimize the risk of being behind our schedules and over budgets for our projects? Thank you very much.
So practically, I think one of the challenges that we have as project managers in this day and age is this move towards agile. But one of the absolutely fundamental practices of agile that I absolutely love is this definition of done. And in the definition of done, make sure that it is very small requirements, because the team is constantly going to have to move through iterations and move quickly through iterations. So you're absolutely right, we don't have 4 to 6 months, so break those requirements down. They may be big requirements, break them down into very small 6-week increments of how you're going to address a specific requirement, and ensure that the product owner is signing off on that definition of done at the beginning of the 6-week sprint. Otherwise, you're going to fall into those kinds of difficulties. Dr. Saad?
I think what you said is I think, one other thing I can add, when it comes to working together between BD and PM, in any type of industry, after this is concluded for some time, they understand each other's languages immediately. Second thing, they have the same repository, remember, within knowledge management. So they would, if they are repeating, this is not applicable for the project that's done for the first time, but projects that are repeated, then they would have some sort of previous templates. They work with both of them together, and this would help shorten the time to do a feasibility or an analysis or collection of requirements for a new project.
But I would add, just a very last thing to give you.
Sure.
Spend that time on the requirements capture. You will never regret it. The more time you spend on the front end of a project or program, the more successful it will be.
Thank you, speakers. I think our assigned time for the QA is over. But I would be encouraging you to network with our international speakers. They will be around during the break. At the end of the session, I would like to thank our international speakers. I would like to thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, to be with us in the first parallel session for today. So thank you all, and see you soon, inshallah.